This is Intoxicated Literature.
Well, hi.
Hi.
We have the occasion of actually being together in the same room.
Isn't that exciting?
know. Hi, I'm Evelyn Crow.
And I'm Daniella Drake.
Hi. This is our Intoxicated Literature podcast where we drink and
talk about books.
Yeah. I'm going to have actually some because I haven't had enough.
I
we've been
also have
preparing
not
for
had
this.
enough. We've been, because we're in the same place trying to set up all of the equipment, which we usually have set up for just one person.
Yes. And just to give you an idea of how much I actually drink, this is wine left over from my wine advent calendar from December.
It's surprisingly good.
It is very good. It's from Costco. And Costco never lets you down.
So, yeah, let's talk about Dragon's Bride by Katee Robert.
Katee Robert.
Katee Robert.
I always want to add an S, but
Me
there's
too.
not one.
That's why I paused, because I was like,
Yes.
wait, is it Roberts? No, it is
No,
not.
it's not. Katee Robert. And she's actually one of my newer favorite writers. I love her.
I remember when you discovered her last year, and you were
Yes.
very excited about her
Yes.
her villains series.
She's very clever,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
just love it.
Yeah.
So
She goes for it too, you know? She's
she goes for it.
Yeah.
And this this new series, I love it to pieces, and it's just batshit crazy. And
It really is.
I really like it. I really like it. I don't want anyone to think I don't like it because it's batshit crazy. I love it because it's batshit crazy.
Oh, it's so different.
It's so different.
It's so different, and I always love that. I will never be the one to be like, oh, this is too crazy for me. I'll just keep reading it going, okay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I love it. I love it to pieces.
So before we go too deep into it, spoilers, massive spoilers ahead. Also adult content.
Yes. Very much adult content.
Very much adult content.
There will be profanity as well.
Yes.
We don't hold back from that.
Yes.
Yes, so 18 and over and profanity.
And now you have been warned, so...
And spoilers. 100%.
100% spoilers, adult content. I cannot say it enough.
Yes, please don't contact us and say, you spoiled it! We warned you.
We warned you.
Here be spoilers.
This is basically, we're talking about the entire book, so you're gonna know everything. But you should still read it, because it's awesome.
It's amazing! You should totally read it. Totally read it. It's the best book ever.
So, overall impressions, we already kind of talked about with the batshit crazy.
Yes.
But I did enjoy it. It was a quick read. We read a lot, so we already read pretty quickly. But this was a very enjoyable read. I read it, I think, in 2 days because, full-time job and all of that. But it was one of those ones where I was like, I just had to see where it went. So I just kept reading.
Really, you have no idea where it's going.
No.
And you have no idea how it's going to work. And you have just the logistics.
So confusing in the beginning.
You're just like, it's a dragon. It's
Yes.
a dragon.
Yes. Okay, so the beginning. I actually loved the beginning. The very, very beginning where she's talking to...
Okay, so there are triggers, you guys. Trigger warning.
100%.
There are going to be conversations of difficult content regarding abuse and abusive relationships. So if that's something that's difficult for you to listen to, please...
Skip this episode.
Yes.
But yeah, the beginning where she's trying to escape her abusive husband because if he finds her, this is going to be the end. And we all know, that's how these relationships work. But her meeting with the demon and making the deal with the demon might have been my favorite part of the book, to be honest.
I really enjoyed it.
Because Azazel, the demon, is so interesting.
He is so interesting.
So interesting. All of the characters are really interesting.
And actually, I have read a lot of her books. And I've read in every series that she has. So I've read The Wicked Villains, and I haven't met the person in Olympus yet, but I know in Wicked Villains there is a person who kind of takes on this role of the daddy who overlooks everything and takes care of everybody.
So this is one of her tropes,
there's a person who kind of looks out for everybody and makes sure everybody is safe.
Right.
And so Azazel kind of takes on that role.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And he's definitely like, I am really pissed off that you got treated like this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take care of you.
Literally vanishes to take care of the husband.
Comes back 10 minutes later. Like, well, that's been handled. And she's like, wait, what? Huh?
I mean, I'm very sorry to inform you, but you're a widow.
And she's just like, what?
But so it's really interesting because I have never read a book like this. This is not, because the starting premise is she makes a deal with a demon where she has to live in this alternate reality or alternate dimension or whatever you want to call it for 7 years. And it's just fascinating to me because it's like I would never have thought to do that, but it's such an easy way to do a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an easy gateway into this other place where there are these dragons and other characters and whatever.
Absolutely. And also the fact that he is auctioning off these women to these characters, but at the same time he's like, no, you can't have this one.
Yeah.
He's absolutely controlling who goes to which person or demon or monster or whatever, and he's like, no, you guys are not a good match.
I actually really enjoyed the auction scene too. And it was funny because I thought, at first I was like, what is happening? Mm-hmm. Because I was a little bit put off by it. I was like, I don't want to see something where women are getting auctioned off.
But it wasn't degrading.
No, the way that she did it was really interesting. Again, I keep saying that word, but it's true. Like, it was just so different from what I expected. And maybe that's about me and my expectations. But the fact that, like, at the end of that auction scene, I was kind of like, huh. Mm-hmm. So Azazel had this all planned out from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, he knew exactly who goes where. Mm-hmm. And it's too, like, the contract is very, like, you're not going to get harmed. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Consent was
number one.
They have every opportunity to seduce you, but you have to agree.
Yep. 100%.
There was no force involved. In fact, if they force you, you are gone.
Yep.
And their contract is forfeit, and there's consequences.
Big ones. Big consequences.
Huge consequences. Yeah. It's not just like a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
It's like their whole demands is like, there's mine now.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, sorry.
Exactly.
It's huge.
It's huge. So, I mean, that the whole setup was so fascinating, and I just wanted to keep reading because I was just like, what is going on? And then she meets Sol.
I know.
Her new dragon husband.
Okay, now this was a little surprising to me because she pairs up Briar Rose. I love the name. Mm-hmm. She pairs up Briar Rose with Sol, and there's this abused woman who goes from an incredibly abusive marriage, and one of the requirements for Sol is that she has to immediately get married again. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting about this is, one, the marriage ceremony is unlike any marriage ceremony that she's ever seen.
Yeah.
She's in a fantasy realm. It's like, I'm disassociating. This is not real.
It's not real, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And that's how it feels for the reader, too. You're just kind of like, this is not, it doesn't feel real.
And she even says that to Sol, like, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This isn't important to me. And he's like, well, it kind of matters to me a little bit.
I've never been married before. I just want to point that out.
It's kind of important to me, but okay. Matters to me a little bit.
So yeah, immediately gets married again. First, panics about it.
Yes.
And rightfully so.
Yes.
Because
she's doing it in like a sheer dress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
White sheer dress.
Yeah.
In water.
Yeah.
And poor Sol's just like, the whole time. But restraint, makes no move whatsoever. Total gentleman.
Yeah. Yep. He's so honorable.
He is.
He's so caring.
He is.
Like, he really wants to take care of her, and you can tell that is the motivation for him.
Yes.
Is to make sure that she is okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is amazing.
Yes.
Because he's a dragon.
Yeah. He's a dragon. He's a fucking dragon. And he's huge.
Okay, so the other thing that I really liked about this book was the reason that the humans were even there in the first place. Mm-hmm. Because the whole thing about when he finally explains it to her, Sol explains it to Briar Rose, and it's like, yeah, so apparently magic is a lot more prevalent when human blood is in the bloodline. So we need more humans to mate with us so that we keep our magical abilities.
And at first she's like, wait, we're conduits? Are you going to sacrifice me? And he's like, no. Wait.
Which was also great.
No. Wait.
I feel like that's most of their relationship is just her being like, wait, you're going to do what? No. And him going, whoa, no. That is not what I meant.
No, even in that water scene, that's when you realize, okay,
yeah.
guys, they're going into this water. And he's seeing her in the sheer dress. I mean, it's completely see-through.
Yeah.
It's this white
Might as
dress.
well not even have it on.
Seriously. And she's like panicking and pulling up this dress because it's falling off. It's waterlogged. It's falling off. And he's getting aroused during this whole thing. Guys, he is a dragon. And Katee Robert is really smart. And she's looked up reptile anatomy. And she's looked at snakes. And you know what snakes have, you guys? Snakes have 2 penises. Two.
Not 1.
2. So, do you know what this dragon has, you guys?
2 penises.
2 penises. This soul has 2 gigantic cocks, you guys. 2 of them.
2 of them.
And so here is this woman who has just escaped, like literally the day before, an abusive relationship. And she's in water in a sheer dress.
With an aroused, double penile dragon.
And she turns around and she looks down and she goes, wait a minute. Do you have 2 penises? And he's like, yes.
Yes.
And even she's accurate to the point where it actually goes inside his body when he's not aroused. I, as a person who is like an
Love
animal
science.
freak,
Yep.
I'm like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Super cool.
Unexpected from a fantasy
I know,
romance
it's
book.
so different. I was just like, this is so cool.
Well, I love it too because I mean we obviously talked about it a little bit last time, but when you brought it up and I was like, oh, 2 penises, and you're like, no, and now I understand why.
Yes, but they're so huge.
They're so huge,
and it cracks me up because I talked to her about. I talked to Daniella about this before. I follow Robert on all of her social media. She does Twitter and she does TikTok, and she mentioned on Twitter that everyone just kept begging her for a DP thing with the 2 penises. And she, rightfully so, because they are giant, you guys. Giant penises, because he is a dragon. And she's like, guys, I can't do a DP with these penises. She will die from internal bleeding. It's not physically possible.
And you guys, after reading it, I get it. She is correct. It would just tear her apart.
But it's okay, because the scenes themselves are just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Without it.
Yeah. Super hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no need.
Which surprised me because, I never really thought about dragons as sexual beings.
Seriously. But, I guess they're humanoid enough. I mean, he had pecs.
Well, and, and this goes back to the magical lore of the world where they had, at some point in the past, been like the dragons we think of, these big, giant animals, who then somehow, and they don't even go into it in the book, but somehow bred with humans. So they have these kind of human traits that you don't usually see in dragons, except for the 2 penises.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was fascinating. I also found the magic of the demons a little bit interesting.
Yes.
Because they tattoo her, right? When she wakes up with a tattoo.
Right.
Which was like her protection, basically, being like she is the property of Azazel. So her contract is in her skin. Something happens to her to harm her, or she's upset about anything, they know immediately she's protected, right? And then part of the deal is if she has a child, she has to leave the child in this world. And she obviously does not like that plan.
No.
She's like, no, I'm not, first of all, I'm not having a kid.
Right.
I'm just not. It's just not happening. Nope. And so then she makes the Romanu, which is Azazel's helper.
Non-gender demon.
Non-gender demon with horns in his eye, in their eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. But they show up, and they're also very interesting.
Man, I want a scene with Romanu and somebody.
Anybody.
Because, honest to God, that's got to be the best thing ever.
I know. I don't even care who. They're so sassy.
I know.
And so, funny.
I know.
So great.
So I hope when we finally get Azazel's book, Romanu and Azazel and whoever have some kind of threesome.
Because this is the first book in a new series that she's doing. So all of the women that get auctioned off in the beginning of this book are going to have their own books.
Yes.
And I definitely recommend, you guys should read it just because it's It's so unlike anything
so
else.
different from anything. And it's amazing. And Soul is just this gentleman.
Yeah.
And he's so kind and patient and amazing. And watching Briar Rose emerge from this shell of a woman into... Watching her with Azazel was amazing.
Amazing.
So she doesn't want babies. And there's actually a pendant that she can wear that is birth control, essentially. And one of the things that they do is they play breeding games during their interludes. And during one of their little interludes, she runs and he chases. And he gets a little carried away and accidentally, on purpose, removes her...
Giving her the opportunity to say no.
Absolutely.
And she does not.
And then at the end, they are both like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What did we both do?
Got a little carried away in the moment.
And they both panic a little.
Yeah.
And Azazel, being the daddy bear that he is like, he shows up, hears the tail end of a conversation, assumes the worst.
Yes.
And sweeps her
Briar
off.
Rose. Yeah.
To protect her.
Yeah.
For her own good. He assumes the worst has been done and that Soul has forcefully tried to impregnate her.
Yeah.
Which is not what happened.
Not at all.
He did not do that. There was no consent violation. He absolutely waited for her to say, no, don't do this.
And even Briar Rose is trying to tell him, no, that's not what happened.
There are many things that happened in this book, but a consent violation was not one of them.
No.
And she is pissed off.
Yeah.
And this woman, who was cowering in the beginning of this book, is shouting at this demon.
Who's like 9 feet tall or whatever.
9 feet tall with like smoke coming off of him. Yeah. And there's horns. And he's like, the fuck is happening?
Yeah. But it's great to see because you get to see her healing. Throughout this book that's really what the book is about her healing from this horrible experience of being married to someone who was horrible.
Yes.
So getting to see her go from someone who's scared of her own shadow.
Who's scared of sex. Who's scared of... Even her husband wouldn't even let her read because he saw it as something that was lazy. You know, just something to enjoy, to self-care, to just relax.
Yeah.
To just...
Not okay.
You know, she was not okay.
Yeah.
And so just being able to be a person, to then being able to stand up for herself and demand her rights and what she wanted.
Exactly.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. It was such a great moment.
It was.
And also his look of utter confusion.
Yeah. And Romano's like, okay, we're done here.
Yeah.
We're going to go over here. He doesn't know what to do with you. And then Soul shows up and Romano calls her a Spitfire and he's like, are we talking about the same person?
So good. I feel like Romano kind of takes the place of the audience a little bit.
I think so.
Because even in the beginning, like the first time you really meet them, they're kind of being like, you guys are both being stupid. Like
Soul's like, I'm giving her space, and Romano's like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You are a coward.
She's in a new world and you're just leaving her in a room alone.
She's just
like
sitting in there and she's bored.
At least talk to her.
I know, what the fuck, man?
I love it. So sassy. Okay, so one thing I do want to talk about, because it was so... the sex scenes are fascinating.
They are fascinating.
And the first time that he goes down on her...
Oh god, with the jaws.
Yes. And, okay, so he's a dragon.
He's the dragon.
He's got a snout, basically.
He does.
So...
He's basically, like, chewing
on her. Like,
and he has a prehensile tongue, though, which has got to be
Yes.
interesting.
I would say, given her reaction, most definitely yes.
So basically, he is big enough, and she is small enough, that his entire mouth fits over...
Like, her lower half.
Her lower half.
Yeah.
So he's got teeth that add sensation, that, like, pricks of pain, like, around her abdomen. Like,
and, like, on her behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And then he's got his tongue doing all sorts of things.
Yep.
Like all sorts of
Yes.
really interesting things happening.
Yes.
Like, the first time I read this, I'm going,
yeah.
And I honestly don't know how I would feel
Same.
about that. Same, because that's a lot of teeth.
Yes.
Near some very
Sensitive areas. All my organs. Yeah. I was like, that is the ultimate trust.
Yes. And that's like the first thing they do.
Yeah. Which also I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I trust any dragon that much.
I know. That was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. And they do that a lot.
They do. They do.
They do that a lot.
Yes. But there is like a special healing
There's a balm.
balm
Yes.
that they get from the demons.
He's so big, you guys. He needs a special healing balm.
Yes. Which honestly, like, does not sound like a good time. But
hey,
you know, they seem to have a good time.
I know,
so
they do.
Who am I to judge?
He apparently fits well enough. And so there is a DP scene.
There is.
But he uses his tail, which is prehensile.
Yes. Which is which was also
I know.
I feel like I spent a lot of this book going, oh my.
So I'm afraid I've corrupted Danielle a little bit. I think I've read a lot of more shocking stuff than...
Yeah, that I don't tend to gravitate toward romance as a genre. Like, it's not that I'm against it at all.
And I have actually read some more shocking stuff than she has.
Yes.
Like, I have read a lot of Cherie Sinclair, which is a little more heavier on the BDSM side of stuff. So I've actually read stuff where I'm like, okay, not so much with the snout and the teeth, but with stuff with, with restraints and other things. So things that I'm like, okay, not so much with tails and snouts.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. This was my first foray, really. I mean, I did, like, Laurel K. Hamilton. Like, that was my biggest dive into it. But, and, like, I'll be honest, the tentacles lost me a little bit. But
that was weird.
Yeah.
But yes.
But that was, like, my first introduction.
Yes.
And then, so this, I did like this better, but only because I think I resonated with Briar Rose better. Yes. Like, it wasn't that I didn't like Laura K. Hamilton.
Laura K. Hamilton goes for a lot of... There's a lot of sex.
There's a lot. It's very sex heavy.
And there's not a lot of plot.
Yeah.
At least with this book, it's a light book.
It is a light book.
But there's still substance.
Yes. No, I really enjoyed it because it really was just about her healing.
Yes, there absolutely was.
Yeah.
And did you have an epilogue?
I don't think I had an epilogue.
Okay, so you need to sign up for her newsletter.
Okay.
She now does her epilogues with her newsletters.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, yes.
Okay, I will do that.
So sign up for her newsletters.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Go follow
Katee
Robert on all of her social media. Definitely, if you want to get all sorts of cool stuff, Patreon is also a good place to go. But her newsletter, free.
Yeah.
And you get the epilogues.
That's awesome.
A lot of short stories and stuff for a lot of her series.
Yeah,
so.
I do want to read the villain series, I think, and then the other one, the
Sabine Valley one.
Yeah.
Guys, okay, funny story. So I'm gonna take another drink because this is retarded. When I was a young lass, growing up, I made Daniella, who is my sister, by the way.
Yes, we are sisters.
Watch 7 Brides for 7 Brothers an embarrassingly high number of times.
A lot.
And, like, a lot.
To be fair, it was in the rotation with all of the musicals.
It's true.
Really.
We are a very musical-heavy family. And, I mean, we were on crew when we were in high school. We played in the pit.
In the band.
We did musicals. So, when I read The Sabine Valley for the first time, I did not know that's what it was. Until I started reading it. And then I realized that it was a play on 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, and then I literally died. I died and went to heaven a little bit. Just a little bit. And then I learned that she put it on hiatus until she finished this monster series, which is great. I love the monster series. But I also love the Sabine Valley series. So I'm in a little bit of a bind. So I'm just waiting.
Well, she seems pretty fat. She's got a pretty quick turnaround.
But she's also doing traditional.
Oh,
so she started independent and now she's traditional. And I'm not sure what she's doing independent, what's going traditional anymore.
Right.
I don't know if she's transitioning or what. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
we're just waiting now.
Right. Yep.
So,
Well,
and there's a different schedule when you go traditional.
this is the life of the reader.
I know.
You get hooked and
I'm
then
just
you have
waiting,
to wait.
But I'm happy to wait.
Yeah, sometimes the anticipation
So-
is the best part because you just remember how great it was, and then when it comes out, it's so exciting.
And I tell you, she writes a good sex scene. So
She really does.
she really
does.
really does.
Yep. Woohoo boy.
And that's not those Saved by Valley ones. Now look, I'm drunk enough to say this in front of my sister, you guys. My husband was very happy. So I'm serious. Just go read. Here's the thing. I never read any books like her. Like, I read some, like, Cherie Sinclair I liked. Because the thing I liked about Cherie Sinclair is I liked BDSM because there was a connection between all of the characters.
Right.
There was a bond.
Yeah.
Right? And Katee Robert does this.
Yeah.
Very, very well. And she has a lot of polyamorous characters.
Right.
Which I like. But I had never seen the MMF done so well.
Ah, got it. Okay.
With the sword crossing.
Yeah.
Until her.
I believe it after just reading this one book.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought the writing was great.
Great.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it a lot.
So,
I loved her world building. I loved her characters. I loved the whole thing. I thought it was really good.
You know, now I'm like going and finding the books that no one's talking about, like on TikTok and stuff. And I guess there's one, like I read all of her Mafia ones, which I don't even like Mafia books. I read all of her Mafia ones. And now I'm going to go read the one, like, it's Only Her Dad Will Do, I think is my next one. And apparently it's the one where her boyfriend cheats on her, so she goes and sleeps with his dad. It's not my kind of book. I'm going to go read it anyway. Because she wrote it.
Because this is the thing, like, you hear that, and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound very good. But it's Katee Robert,
I know.
so there's some twist that you're missing that makes it okay.
I know. Somehow it's going to be good.
Like, she always had, like, even with, like, the auction scene in this book where you're like, oh, this is gonna be, oh, no, this is, oh, okay, this was actually really funny. Like, this was an interesting thing. Awesome.
But yeah, no, Katee Robert's fabulous.
So good. Everybody should read this.
I know.
It's so
God.
quick. It's like a little happy jaunt.
I know. And then I got a surprise because, and again, I don't like reverse harems. They're not usually my thing. Because here's the thing. Here's my thing with reverse harems. They're very popular right now. They are extremely the in thing right now. One, I don't like the term.
No, I agree.
It's a very colonialist thing.
Yeah.
And I know that women are trying to reclaim it and say that it's our term now, but it's still icky.
There's a power imbalance that...
And there's a power imbalance.
Yes. That
it's
icks
all
me out.
focused on one person.
Yeah.
Ugh. But it's Katee Robert.
Yeah.
And there's sword crossing. So I read her vampire trilogy. And it was not my favorite that she wrote, but I read it.
Yeah.
And one of the characters in it actually ends up being auctioned off in this book.
I love it when the worlds collide.
And I'm reading this vampire trilogy and I went, hey, wait a minute. That's the demon. Hey, wait a minute. And then I actually went back and reread The Dragon's Bride and went, oh my god! I know who that is!
I love that. That's awesome.
So yeah, so now one of the reasons why I'm going back and reading all of the books of hers is I'm like, maybe I can find some more of these women. I don't know where they are.
Right?
I know.
They gotta be somewhere.
I found two of them. I got Briar Rose.
Yeah.
And I got this other woman, Monster Hunter.
Love that. It's like Buffy. So yes, A Dragon's Bride by Katee Robert.
Do recommend.
Yeah, definitely read it.
I think you can actually, I am not sure, so do check this, because I've had some stuff to drink. I do believe the next one in the series is Tentacle Guy.
I think you're right, because it's Tentacle Guy, and then there's like a Gargoyle Guy, and then there's like a Succubus.
Which is going to be an FF, I do believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, and the Succubus was kind of cool, because it was like, she was like smoky.
Smoky and
yeah.
fire. And if
like,
anyone
like
touched
literal
her,
smoke, not like
and as we
figurative
found out
smoke.
in this book, if you touch her without permission, you just burn to death.
Yeah.
I want that power.
Yeah, right? I would love that.
I want that power. I'm going to touch you without permission and then burn to death. and I'm gonna stand there and laugh while you do it.
Shouldn't have touched me. Without my permission. That's the superpower I would like. Thank you very much.
And then after that, I believe will be Azazel.
I think Azazel does get a book. I mean, that's how it was set up in this one.
I think so.
So, which is awesome because I really liked
Yes.
Azazel. Like,
Yes.
I really did want to read more with him because he was fascinating. He was such an interesting demon.
So interesting.
But all of the characters were like, it was
Yes.
so, because there aren't even that many characters in this book.
I know.
But you're all like, but wait, I want to learn more about her.
I know. Oh, the mating frenzy?
Yeah.
And you get possessive dragon, too. You get possessive. Like, don't touch my woman. It's like amazing.
Yeah.
You get so many things in this book.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, it was really fun. Such a fun read.
So short, but so good.
For
it was
sure.
fun.
So, what are we going to read next?
I don't know.
I
What
know.
did we decide on? Did we
I don't
decide
think
on
we
anything?
decided on anything.
Shit. What are we going to read?
So, let's see. I'm going to read... what do I have in my queue right now? I have one of Rebecca Rowanhorse's books. Trail of Lightning. That's what I have.
Trail of Lightning was really good, and I recommend it. And I'm happy to talk about that
Okay,
one.
let's do that one next, because I have it queued up. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
Go read all of Katee Robert.
Yes.
Just all her entire catalog.
All of Katee Robert.
She just deserves all of the money. Just give it to her.
She does. She's awesome. I just want to be her best friend.
I know. I want to meet her.
Can we be best friends, please?
And I love the way she talks about her husband. Have you seen her talk about her husband?
Oh, I don't think I've seen her talk about her
on
husband.
TikTok, she talks about how her husband is just, he's so, because she talks about, like, she talks to him. It's like, I think this dragon needs to have 2 penises. And he's just like, okay, dear.
I feel like that's how it would be with my boyfriend, too. He'd just be like, whatever you want.
Okay,
honey."
whatever.
Yeah. I love that. That's adorable.
I know.
All right, well, I feel like we've covered everything. So next time, Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Rowanhorse. A little bit different, I think.
Yeah, there's not going to be...
No sexy times.
No sexy...
Yeah, a
no
little
sexy
bit
times.
of no sexy times.
I have
But that's
read it.
okay. Not every book has to have sex.
There will be a little bit of romance, but no sexy times.
Okay.
But different.
Right.
Super different. Like, majorly different.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Rebecca Rowanhorse is an indigenous author. And this
I'm super excited.
is super different from anything you've ever read.
I'm super excited about.
So it is going to be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah, that's my next read.
Do recommend.
Love it. Can't wait to talk about it next time. All right.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Intoxicated Literature. Drink well, friends.